People ask me all the time, why haven't you ever had Hillary or Bill Clinton on? Why didn't you have Kamala on during the last campaign? You think we don't ask? We ask these people every week. They say no. It took 8 years and a petition to get Obama on. And these are people, all people I vote for. Think about that. They're afraid to come on the show of a guy who voted for them. They're definitely afraid of their kids, who from time immemorial have always come up with bad ideas. Their kids, thinking up stupid what they do. But parents used to tell them, that's ridiculous. The world doesn't work that way. Not today's parents. They say, you're right, honey. Gender is just a social construct. Please, sometimes your mother and I forget which one of us has the dick.
Bill Maher just dropped another bomb, and this one scorched the DNC. He didn't just criticize them, he roasted them as spineless, clueless, and totally out of touch. Picture a pack of smug elites pushing ideas so ridiculous that even their own side cringes. And here's the kicker. The way Maher said it was both savage and laugh out loud funny. If you love raw, unfiltered takedowns, hit that like button now, because this is just the beginning.
Democrats need to get their together because we need two parties in this country. And we desperately need the one that still concedes elections, doesn't sell the office, and doesn't want to completely switch up democratic rule of law for a rubber-stamped autocracy. But that party is so right now, and nothing to me symbolized that more than this video. Why do I say that? Well, let me put it this way. I don't know for a fact that this couple are Democrats. I just know it's true.
Bill Maher just called it like it is. The DNC is a total train wreck with nobody at the wheel. Who's really running this party? Some point to AOC, waving the progressive banner. Others still cling to Bernie's revolution. A few whisper Kamala's name despite her tanking approval. And then there's Newsom, more polished hair than real answers. But here's the brutal truth. Maher says no one is in charge. It's like a car with 4 drivers yanking the wheel, headed straight for disaster. And wait until you hear how he says this leadership vacuum is ripping the Democrats apart.
First off, the man is at a Coldplay concert. And while Republicans could like Coldplay, they don't, they could. It's unlikely that this guy is a Christian conservative because he was having an affair with a woman. No, I knew they were Democrats, the same reason I knew this was a Democrat. You can't hide from the kiss cam, and you can't hide in the Oval Office.
Maher doesn't hold back. He says the DNC looks lost because they are straight up scared. Imagine a couple caught on the kiss cam, panicking, hiding, and wishing the spotlight would disappear. That's them. Maher even points to Gretchen Whitmer, who once literally ducked behind a pile of files to avoid being seen. It's the perfect snapshot, a party that hides instead of leads, choosing cowardice over courage and panic over vision. And Maher's warning is clear. How can they win anyone's trust when they are too busy running for cover?
Am I saying that only Democrats run and hide? But Democrats seem to be afraid of everything. They were petrified of COVID, masking 2-year-olds who never would have died from it, having schools closed for far too long.
Here's a shocking truth. Under DNC rule, schools shut down for nearly a year, leaving kids isolated and falling behind, despite studies showing they were barely at risk. Instead of caution, Democrats doubled down on fear, pushing vaccine mandates and forcing compliance, all while claiming it was for safety. The real motive? Control, and maybe a little panic over losing power. Meanwhile, elites ignored the rules. Remember Gavin Newsom dining in style while everyone else stayed home? That's a DNC in action. Preaching sacrifice, living in luxury, and dodging accountability.
They're definitely afraid of their kids, who from time immemorial have always come up with bad ideas. Their kids, thinking up stupid what do. But parents used to tell them, that's ridiculous. The world doesn't work that way. Not today's parents. They say, you're right, honey. Gender is just a social construct. Please, sometimes your mother and I forget which one of us has the dick.
This one's funny, but also wild. Try debating a Democrat on gender, and it's like talking to a kindergartner. Their points are simple, emotional, and totally detached from logic. Buzzwords fly, feelings trump facts, and when real evidence shows up, they either panic or switch topics. Yet they say it all with such passion, you'd think they'd discovered the cure for cancer. It's childish logic, wrapped in adult confidence, and they believe it wholeheartedly. The result? A party clinging to nonsense while making common sense look ridiculous, and leaving the rest of us shaking our heads.
I don't know if we're still banning TikTok. That was before we changed the rule in America to Trump decides what's a law. But I know it wouldn't even be an issue if parents would sack up and tell their kids to get off the phone. Democrats are still afraid of the mean girls who lease their far-out fringe.
Here's the brutal truth. Democrats are terrified, almost as much of cancel culture as losing elections. One wrong word, one bad joke, and the Twitter mob comes out swinging. So what do? Tiptoe around every issue, cave to the loudest radicals, and flip positions the moment a hashtag trends. Honesty takes a backseat to survival, and fear has become their guide, steering the party straight off a cliff.
Massachusetts Congressman Seth Moulton had a perfect score on LGBTQ issues from the Human Rights Campaign. But when he said, "I have 2 little girls. I don't want them getting run over a playing field by a male or formerly male athlete," his own campaign manager quit. And the chair of the Salem Democratic City Committee, Liz Bratt, accused Moulton of being what is known as a cooperator in Nazi times. Yeah, I think the word you're looking for, moron, is collaborator. And I'm guessing everything you know about Nazi times comes from TikTok.
Senator Moulton did what few dare. He spoke out against forcing biological men into women's sports. He called out the obvious. It's unfair, unsafe, and ruined competition. But instead of debate, the woke mob attacked instantly, labeling him a bigot and canceling him for standing his ground. Truth gets punished, and principle takes a backseat to virtue signaling. Moulton's stand shows the left isn't after discussion. They want total compliance, and anyone who resists gets crushed.
Imagine that, a congressman merely stand up for the liberal principle, the one we do still call Title IX, that women get equal shot in sports, and now it gets you labeled a Nazi. Alyssa Slotkin calls her party weak and woke. She's right. People vote on instinct. They can smell for a swing state away, and they'd rather have strong...
Here's the hard truth. Strong leaders build strong nations, and America is starving for one right now. We don't need weak figureheads hiding behind polls, pandering to the loudest voices, or bowing to fringe activists. That cowardice has left the country divided, frustrated, and desperate. Real leaders don't chase applause. They set a vision, stand firm, and put the people first. Right now, America needs strength, clarity, and someone who won't flinch when the mob screams or the media attacks. Without it, we keep drifting into weakness, and everyone can feel it. Here's the deal.
Having sex with Stormy Daniels was wrong, but Trump did hide from the camera. Quite the opposite. It looks like he said to the photographer, "Widen that out so you can get these tits." He's got a mugshot hanging outside the Oval Office. He's literally got a guy working for him named Big Balls. It's like if Gavin Newsom had a henchman named Perfect Hair.
Build strong nations, and America is starving for one right now. We don't need weak figureheads hiding behind polls, pandering to the loudest voices, or bowing to fringe activists. That cowardice has left the country divided, frustrated, and desperate. Real leaders don't chase applause. They set a vision, stand firm, and put the people first. Right now, America needs strength, clarity, and someone who won't flinch when the mob screams or the media attacks. Without it, we keep drifting into weakness, and everyone can feel it.
People ask me all the time, why haven't you ever had Hillary or Bill Clinton on? Why didn't you have Kamala on during the last campaign? You think we don't ask? We ask these people every week. They say no. It took 8 years and a petition to get Obama on. And these are people, all people I voted for. Think about that. They're afraid to come on the show of a guy who voted for them. The Republicans, they show up. And when they do, they take their beating like a man.
Here's the deal. Unlike the Democrats, Trump doesn't hide from his mistakes, and that's why millions respect him. Career politicians dodge blame, spin stories, and point fingers, but Trump keeps it real. He admits when things go wrong, then fights to fix them. That raw honesty hits home for Americans tired of weak leaders afraid of offending anyone. People want bravery, strength, and authenticity, and Trump delivers. Love him or hate him, one thing's clear. He's not pretending, and that's why so many rally behind him.